Before I begin, I'm recording this on a Corsair headset microphone. Obviously, the recording is going to be pretty bad. If I get 100 subscribers, I will purchase an actual decent microphone. Until then, I'm just going to record off of this because I don't want to invest into something that's not going to grow. Hello, everybody on the internet. This is the Anime Overanalyst here, coming at you with a Promised Neverland blind review. So, the other day, I decided to pick up the Promised Neverland. In the past, I've actually seen the anime, and I really enjoyed the anime, so I thought I'd pick up the manga. So, this review will be over the chapters 1 through 37 of the manga, which covers the entire first season of the anime. So, to begin with, I want to talk about the protagonists. We've got what I call the big three, which are Emma, Ray, and Norman. Emma appears to be our main shonen protagonist, Ray being the encyclopedia of the group, and then there's Norman, the tactician. Of the three, my complete favorite is hands down Emma. I really love her character in this in the manga, even in the anime. She's turned out to be one of my favorite protagonists of anime. Uh, the cool thing about Emma is that she's strong. She's got this strength about her where she's got that shonen protagonist never give up mentality. My next favorite is going to be Norman. Norman, of course, is I think the pillar of support in this in of the entire three. Um, as you all know, I'm assuming that since you've clicked on this video that you're fully aware of spoilers and everything. Uh, Norman gave himself up to the demons in order to make sure that Emma and Ray uh, stay alive, and that's quite admirable, to be honest. Um, I really do like Norman in that aspect. And I've got a couple of theories about his character that I'll go into later on into this video. So that's kind of the quick rundown of Norman. And then finally we have Ray, who is the brainiac of the group, I suppose. Although, in a way, they're all really quite intelligent. I mean, they'd have to be according to the plot, you know. And I really haven't seen anything too much to differ. I do think Emma is a little bit more on the stupid side, but she's a shonen protagonist. They're all usually pretty much on the stupid side. Um, anyway, uh, Ray, I do like Ray. I like kind of like his character developments of just like how much he cares about his friends. Actually, I swear of the big three, he's probably the one that goes through the most character development in this entire arc. He's the one who, uh, you know, would spy on them for Mama, and yet he's kind of throughout the entire arc, he kind of starts to realize how much he cares about his friends. Next, I've got listed down. I've actually wrote a whole bunch of notes here. The camera couldn't pick it up too well, but I've got what I call secondary characters. They are, for me, they are Dawn and Gilda. These are the two older siblings that haven't been shipped off yet. That the big three uh, looped into the escape attempts like midway through the arc. Uh, of the two, Don's my favorite. He's got so much energy about him, and I just love his personality, where it's just kind of like he's the character that just does. He just wants to do. He just does. He's kind of like Emma in that aspect, honestly. Yoda is also a really cool character. However, so far I really haven't seen too much about her. She did have a really cool moment when she was talking to Sister Crone, and she flat out refused to tell her anything, which was quite astounding. Uh, Coming from a character who doesn't look like much, doesn't really talk like much, and she's not really there throughout the most of the arc. I really like that. So I do have some honorary characters that I do want to mention, but before that, why don't I talk about the antagonists? So, of course, with the antagonists, we have Isabella, who is the mother of the house. She's the caretaker of all the children, and whenever she's told to ship them out, she ships them out. So, her character throughout the entire arc is also really quite fascinating. I love how unique it is because it's not like the final boss type character that a lot of shonen have, where at the end of the arc they fight the final boss. No, she's the type of villain that she's incredibly intelligent, and B, she's the type of character that has underlying motives that I don't even think anybody really understands. And I'll probably go more into that a little bit later. The next antagonist is Sister Crone. Sister Crone. Okay, I'm gonna be real honest here. Sister Crone's drawn kinda weird. And I think that's the point. Like, her art style is just really disturbing. And I remember in the anime, there were several scenes with her playing with like a teddy bear that had like maybe one eye. Um, it was like button eyes, if I remember correctly. In the manga, the teddy bear is non-existent. It's not even there. So that's a really quite interesting kind of flip. So there's that. The character of Sister Crone, however, I kind of went on a tangent. The character is also actually kind of quite fascinating. She's intelligent, but not in like the Isabella type way. In a way, Crone just got the crappy hand in life, where she just kind of did the best of what she could do, and the way that she went about the arc, where she sides with the kids in hopes to kind of like take advantage of them, but instead they take advantage of her. I guess I could kind of see that as the kids outsmarting her. But really, Sister Crone was there as a way for the kids to outsmart Isabella and Isabella to outsmart the kids. And nothing is more apparent than that than in the chapter, I think it was either 34 or 35. That's the one I don't have written down in my notes. Yeah. Um, but I think it's 35. Uh, it's the chapter where the kids listen in to the conversation with Norman and Emma when they're talking to Sister Crone, and they're asking questions like, where's the chip? It's behind the left ear. Uh, where's where are we? Have you ever been to the outside world? This and that. And that was very fascinating because the way they manipulated Sister Crone was that they had all the attention focused on them, and no one actually paid attention to the kids, to the actual like 6-year-olds and around that age. And that was, you know, that type of manipulation is so interesting. Uh, the whole arc is just kind of like it was like Death Note, it's Light Yagami versus L. How are they going to use the people around them to manipulate each other? It's like indirect warfare, and Sister Crone was the she was the centerpiece to the indirect warfare, and in a way, uh, Mama thought that she got the upper hand when she got rid of Sister Crone, because then she got rid of the indirect warfare and she just went straight to direct warfare. And that, I mean, it really did take, the big three off guard. And, you know, in a way, that's how Norman had to give up himself. Um, So that's my little piece on Sister Crone. I didn't expect to be talking so much about her, but the more I thought about it, uh, just how fascinating she is, not as a character for herself, but just as a centerpiece for the two main forces, the big three versus the mama, how she is used as, a centerpiece between the two. So, the other antagonists, of course, I call them indirect because the big three never actually come into direct contact with them. There's Grandmother, who is in charge of the entire plantation, from what I've gathered from. She's the one that Mama and Sister Crone reports to. Then there's also, of course, the demons. And of course, there's that big like king demon without a name. Without a name, or the name is like really weird. I don't quite understand his name, so I'm just gonna call him King Demon because I literally don't understand what to call him. And so they're of course indirect, and the reason why they're indirect, of course, is because they don't want to scare off the children. Ray pointed out that the reason they've never came into contact is because a healthy child is one that lives without fear, which is why this entire plantation is built off of, love and education, which is really quite fascinating. So, those are kind of the main characters. I do have some honorary characters, though, that I do want to mention. There's what I call the Mystery Man, WM. He's the one that's been sending notes through books via Morse code on his emblem, which is really cool. He's also the one that was talking to the demon, and he dropped a pin for Sister Crone to pick up. And I've got a couple theories about that I'm going to talk about at the end of this review. So, there's him. There's also, let's see now, I have Bonnie. She's kind of like catalyst that started off this entire, this entire story. She's the one who, quote unquote, lost her rabbit, her doll. She left it behind, and Emma noticed it and took off after her, which they later pointed out that that was intentionally placed by Ray, and that Ray would have pointed it out to Emma if she hadn't noticed it first. And the entire point was that Ray wanted Emma and Norman to see the demons, which is a really cool play on his part. So, uh, you know, may she rest in peace. That whole imagery of the rose sticking out of her is so graphic and so haunting, and it's in the first chapter, which I'm gonna also talk about at some point because I think the first chapter itself is a masterpiece. Um, Next person that I'm gonna just briefly mention is Leslie. He's the person that came out with Isabel's lullaby. He's the one that she liked and kind of was the catalyst to, yeah, just the chain of lullabies. And in a way, he's her anchor, if anything. I mean, he's really just a plot piece. He's just like a person that she is really connected to. So, I don't have very much else to say, but I just wanted to give him an honorable mention. The last person I do want to talk about, though, is probably the entire MVP of the arc, and that's my little boy, Phil. Phil is so adorable. He's this 4-year-old kid who is on his way to being like Emma, Ray, and Norman. He is so intelligent. The arc shows him how he's, getting better and better scores on these tests that they're taking just as the days progress. And having seen the anime, I already knew that what Phil does. However, rereading it through the manga, it's still just quite amazing how little points I could literally see how Phil starts putting pieces together, and it was so fascinating. When he was there and with Emma, when Sister Crone goes up and says, "Hey, are you waiting for the harvesting?" And Phil gets a clue. And so he kind of does his own little investigation, which is so amazing. And then finally, when they come out to him, when Ray and Emma come out to him, or I think it was Norma and Emma, regardless, whenever they come out to him and be like, there are demons, they're trying to kill everyone, he's like, oh, so that's what's going on. And that literally kind of took me by surprise. You got this 4-year-old kid who he's hell. I even think he's smarter than me. He knows what's going on, and he's not afraid of it. And then the best moment of the arc is when they tell him, hey, we've we're not sure what to do. We can't take everybody. And he literally says, I'll wait for you guys here. So just leave me behind. In the manga, it's like a single panel of just him staring straight up at us, the reader. It's like he's not even telling just Norman, or he's not just telling Emma. He's telling us, the reader, leave me behind. I will fend the fort. As a 4-year-old, like, that just blows my mind. He's such a cool character. And when I start talking about my theories, I also have a really good theory about him that I want to get into. So, this is going to wrap up my section about the characters. My next one is just I'm going to be talking about some kind of random points that I had thought of, and then I'm going to conclude this review with some theories that I have. So, here's just some points that I thought of as I was taking notes. The first is it's just all about Chapter 1. Chapter 1 is like 52 pages of pure beauty. I read that and I just couldn't stop reading. I just kept on going. The art is amazing. Just as a side note, I've read all of Berserk up to where it currently is. I think this is better than the first chapter of Berserk, personally. The first chapter of Berserk, and even some points throughout Berserk, I have no idea what's going on. Yes, the art is fantastic, and with Berserk, with the images that I can really understand what's happening, they hit so much harder than all the art in the Promised Neverland. However, in the Promised Neverland, I knew what was happening the entire time. I could, and the art was on point. Like, there's nothing else that I could say. I think I like the first chapter of Promised Neverland more than I like the first chapter of Berserk. Um, or even, like, probably even better than One Piece, honestly. Like, I can't think of a first chapter that I liked more than the first chapter of The Promised Neverland. I loved the pacing. I loved the mystery that they kind of set up, where they set it up where there's like, okay, you live in an orphanage and it's all nice, and you kind of get the mindset of the kids where you're reading it and you're like, something's kind of going on, but you don't know what. And I actually think they did this better in the manga than in the anime, and I love the first episode of the anime. Um, in the manga, or in the anime, they start off with a scene with Emma, Norman, and Ray just standing at the gates, and they're just looking through. Um, and I think in the anime, that helps build just the more mysterious aspect of of the orphanage, because the first thing you see is, why is there a gate? However, in the manga, it's literally Emma waking up, saying hi to all of her siblings, and just, her daily routine. And I love that aspect because you're looking through Emma's eyes and you can see how you don't you don't even think something's going on, honestly. Like, I'm reading it and I'm like, I know what happens. And I'm because I saw the anime first. But I was just reading it and it's like, I can understand why none of the kids questioned everything, because there's nothing to question up until they show the flashback of the gate, and then the whole the whole going out and seeing what, or following Connie or Bonnie. I don't remember her name too well. Um, and that that whole build up, I think, paid off a whole lot better, because the whole demon thing, it just kind of came out of nowhere. It still kind of came out of nowhere in the anime, to be fair. In the anime, you're kind of like, something's going on, but we don't know what. In the manga, it straight up came out of nowhere. Like, you're kind of sitting there, it's like, oh, we're following Isabella. What, we're gonna go meet. Oh, oh no, Bonnie's dead. What the heck's happened? Oh no, there's demons. Oh no, they want to eat the kids. What the heck is going on? And so I really enjoyed that. So I'm gonna kind of skip forward through most of the beginning of the first arc. If you've seen the anime, you know what essentially happens, and I don't feel like repeating the plot points. I just kind of want to repeat how the uh, manga made me feel, which, even as I was reading, I couldn't stop. It's like the entire arc is wonderfully paced. Um, Even though it's a slow pace, it's still I still like the fact that it's slow paced, because you get to see how everybody's mindset is. The whole duality of, oh, there's a spy. Okay, how can we use red? Well, first of all, we gotta find the spy. Okay, how are we gonna find the spy? Oh, let's just incorporate it, the two other older children, Gilda and Don, and so we'll lie to them. but maybe they'll tell us if they're a spy. Oh, it actually turned out to be Ray, because Norman was 3D, 4D chess gaming this entire thing, and he's like, gee, I wonder if it's Ray. And he literally picked it up with the whole line when Ray says, I want to get you two safe, because he wasn't including himself. So, that the whole mind games. And like how I said earlier with Sister Crone, how they used Sister Crone and even the other children as indirect warfare towards Mama, towards Isabella. Fantastic. I love the aspect of the indirect warfare. Uh, so there is that. What I really want to cover is chapter 29 and 30 specifically. These are the chapters where Norman leaves to his death, supposedly. So chapter 29, Norman comes back and starts telling Ray and Emma all about what he saw on top of the wall while he was investigating the wall. What's so fascinating about this chapter is that at the end he's like, I've got to go. Like I'm not giving up. And Emma and Ray are arguing with him. We're like, there's so many things we could do. I mean, you could just take your tracker off and you could escape or whatnot. And he's like, no, I've got to go. And so he and Mama leaves, and Emma, like, literally as a last ditch effort, literally tries to erase the ear thing and tell him to run. And Norman, as like the cool pillar that he is, I don't know what to call him. I really don't. He stops Emma, he manages to hide the device, and he goes and walks off. And I think that scene hit me so hard. I had literally had to stop reading for like 15 minutes because I just couldn't stop crying. It was so emotional, and I was like, okay, it's over. He's going off towards his death. Let's move on. And then we get chapter 30, which is all about Norman going through that entire scene of him leaving again. And that hit so much harder. It was like a secondary punch. Like chapter 30 was the first punch, or chapter 29 was the first punch, and then chapter 30 was the second punch that made everything so much worse. So, yeah, I I haven't felt like that in a long time. Like just the way that reading that, and it just felt like a train wreck. I think chapter 30 was more the chapter with how Emma tried disarming Norman and whatnot, but regardless, it was fantastic. And it was kind of like all in his mindset. So, that's kind of when I wanted to talk about chapter 30. I think that's it for the points that I really wanted to talk about. Um, yeah, of course the escape goes off without a hitch. We see them escape and how they manage to get across the abyss, which is pretty genius. And how Emma navigates all that while still feeling dead inside. So, you know, that's pretty cool. But I've seen the anime, so I don't really care to talk much about that last piece. The final section of this video is going to be about theories that I have. I've currently got 4 theories. One is kind of more along the lines of the pen and who the mystery man WM is. So, yeah, that's one theory. The second theory that I have is that Norman isn't dead, and I'll go into that a little bit. My third theory is that Phil will not die in the future, and I've got a kind of cool ideas what I think he will do. And my last theory is that Isabella will die. So, to start off with, I'm going to talk about the pen that, specifically the pen that WM leaves with Sister Crone. So, in the pen, she opens it up. Well, first of all, it's that there's the initials W.M. There's no dot on the other hand, so I don't know if, you know, that's important or not. It's just, W.M. So that's just kind of something that I picked up on. The pen, she opens the pen up, and inside says B06-32. And then I don't know if that number 32 continues on because she's got the casing overlapping, like just past 32. So from what I have here, this is chapter 23, mind you. I have a guess that it's a date. So I don't know what B stands for. That's kind of out there, but I'm guessing June 2032 because June's the 6th month, and the current year is supposed to be like 2050. Supposedly 2050. I do think that it's actually further than that, to be honest. The last publication was from 2015, but nothing's to stop them from like lying about the time and like either pushing it ahead or keeping it behind. Like there's if you think about it, we don't really know how long this farm system really has been going on. They can repeat. They could be like, okay, no child's been alive since 2020. So, and let's say currently it's 2040. So next year, let's say it's 2021. And even though it's 2041, let's just say it's 2021. And so the kids will believe that they're really in 2021, even though it's 2041, and they could repeat the process. That's kind of my thinking about it. So I don't trust the dates that they're giving us until I get some hard fact from somebody in the outside world. This is the exact year 2050. I'm holding my breath on the date. And maybe B just means this is the second iteration. Iteration that they're using the span of like 2020 to maybe 2050. Maybe. I don't. Yeah, the B, I really have no idea what the B is. So, that's my first theory, is that the pen's in reference to a date. My second theory that I said was that Norman isn't dead. The only evidence, well, that I have about this, besides just the fact that I really don't want him to die, like I really, really deep down don't want him to die. The only evidence that I can really point out is that in chapter 30, when Mama and Norman they have entered the gate, and Mama points to Norman. She's like, okay, just go through there. Well, I guess two things now that I think about it. First thing is they didn't just kill him right there in the gate like they did with Connie. They killed her inside of a truck. So they didn't do that with him. She was just like, just go through this door. However, the second thing that I noticed was there's a panel. In fact, the very last panel of that scene is it shows Norman with before it Norman says what, and then the panel shows him with like a confused look, and Mama's frowning, but like it cuts off her eyes. It's only her mouth, and it's in a frown, kind of like this was not expected. So I don't think Norman's dead. It is possible that the person WM may have been there because he's had contact with the demons. It's possible that he was there and maybe picked up Norman. I don't know. Um, I just refuse to think that he's dead because even though Mama does come back later and she straight up tells Emma he's dead, I don't buy that at all. Um, Even though, yeah, because I think at that time she was trying to convince Emma to become a mama, which failed because Emma is like, heck no. Um, so yeah, that's my Norman isn't dead theory, and I might actually make a I might make a separate video for all of these, depending on, you know, how this video goes or just how I feel. Honestly, I'm just making videos because I want to. So, the next thing that I want to talk about is that I don't think Phil will die. So he's 4 years old. They didn't really say when he was born, but I don't think that matters. I just know that he's about roughly 4 years old. Uh, like I said earlier, Phil is like the rising star. He's going to be like the next Norman Emma Ray. You know, he's that intelligent. So I think there's a couple of reasons why he's not going to die, and I think there's mainly two. One, he's too good. He's high quality. They don't want to kill him until he's at least 12. That's my theory. They don't want to kill him till then. They're now that they've lost their prize, their quote unquote one of their two bests, you know, Norman and Emma and Ray. So yeah, I don't think he will die. My second theory with Phil is that due to the fact that he's not going to die, I think he's also going to try and find a way to escape. Either escape or communicate with the other plantations. Um, so far, I don't think that Mama has a clue about him. She might. She might, now that she knows that he's the smartest of the group of kids now, so she might be keeping her eyes on it. However, due to my next theory, I don't think that's going to be a factor. Because, you know, my last theory that I want to talk about is that I don't think Isabella is going to survive. Uh, they've kind of hinted at the fact that she screwed up big time. She, sorry, she let the she let 15 children escape, and not only did she do that, she removed the evidence of where they escaped. She took the rope down and hid it, and I think that in itself is the admittance of they're gonna kill me. They're gonna replace me, and they're gonna do away with me. And so that is my current theory, that she's not gonna survive, and due to that, she's gonna get replaced. And due to that replacement, whoever is in charge may not be paying attention to Phil, or they might. Maybe they'll be like, okay, the last bunch escaped because they're extreme brainiacs. What's the chances they told Phil? Huh, probably a big chance, so we're going to keep our eyes on Phil. It's possible, but I'm going to keep that in mind. And it's also possible that whoever replaces Isabella won't run the farm like she did. It might be more of like a tyranny than like an embraced, loving thing. The kids might be literally living in fear. Um, that's kind of my guess. However, I don't really know much about that. So, Uh, that was my last theory, and I think that concludes. Yeah, that's going to conclude this review of The Promised Neverland, chapters 1 through 37. Oh, now that I think about it, uh, I do want to talk about the two comics that were in here. I do believe they're canon. One of them I know for sure was in the anime. It was a comic of when it was like when Norman, Ray, and Emma were about 6 years old, and Norman got sick with the flu, and so Emma fought her way to try and talk to him, and eventually she was able to give him like a can with the string attached, and the whole old telephone game where like he talks through the can and she can listen on the other end. That aspect. So, uh, yeah, I do think that's canon. I don't know if that has any more significance. I feel like they made more significance to it in the anime, but I straight up don't remember it. The other comic was Sister Crone. When she was a child, she made the paper, the Chinese lanterns. They made Chinese lanterns and attached letters to them and then sent them off in hopes that, somebody would reply back to him, which no one ever did. Duh. However, someone picked it up and was like, huh, uh, letters written by kids, and then walked away. And, I mean, I think that's my Mystery Man WM. However, I don't have anything else based off of that. That's just kind of the theory that's going around in my head is that, yeah, that's the Mystery Man who maybe that was his first hint that something was going on with these farms. It's possible. I really don't know. So, uh, that's going to conclude this video. Like I've said earlier, if I get 100 subs, I will actually purchase a decent mic. So for now, I've been the Anime Over Analyst, and I'll catch you guys later in the next video. Peace.